This video segment of the Arch Advocate podcast is brought to you by the subscribe button. Yo, please hit subscribe. I've been podcasting for a year. I have less than 300 subscribers on YouTube, man. Help a brother out, would you? Hit that button like two Nigerians hit Jesse Smollett's. Hit the subscribe, hit like, hit share. Now, this particular segment of today's podcast is about the fact that there was a mass shooting within hours of when President Trump declared a national emergency. Now, by itself, I'd say, okay, that's a hell of a coincidence. Only it's not that, because there were people saying that that was going to happen hours before the president actually made the announcement. I'm going to talk about it on today's segment. Please enjoy. Please hit subscribe. And if you want to hear the entire episode of today's podcast, it's in the show notes below. Please subscribe to the podcast. And if you want to throw me a little dough, go on to paypal.me/archavocate. Enjoy the clip. Before the president's address the other day, there were a number of posts that I saw on both Facebook and Twitter and on Reddit saying, be on the lookout for false flags, be on the lookout for diversions. And this is where it gets really spooky. All right, now I can't pull them up. I went looking for them. I couldn't find them. So on this issue, I'm just going to have to ask you, dear listener, dear leader, dear listener, you're just going to have to trust me that I'm telling you the truth, all right? I know that's a crappy proposition, but that's the deal, all right? I saw before Donald Trump announced that he was going to be declaring an emergency. I'm sorry, no, let me take that back. They announced that Donald Trump was expected to declare a national emergency, but before he actually did it, on the White House lawn there, in front of all of the angel moms, which somebody remind me to come back around to that. Before he did that, there were several posts of the sort of QAnon types. Now listen, dear listener, if you're into QAnon, great. All right, I'm not against you. I'm not with you either. All right, I've seen too much BS in there for me to get on board. But that being said, not everything that the people of that ilk have said has turned out to be wrong. A lot of it has turned out right, and some of those people. All right, so if you're a QAnon type and you're still listening, thank you. Listen, it was the QAnon types who were saying, watch, be careful and watch. Because what's going to happen next is as soon as he declares that emergency, you're going to see some mass shootings. Be on the lookout. Because this is what the Democrats do. I saw those posts. I'm hoping that you saw them too. Because again, I can sit here and say, oh, I saw it. I saw people posting that. And you don't know if I'm just making that up to be sensational or not. I'm telling you, no, I'm telling you the truth. I saw those posts saying, look, there will be mass shootings in the next couple of days. And guess what? Within hours of Donald Trump declaring the national emergency, there was a shooting. I think there was 5 people. Let me see here. There was a number of people who died in Illinois within hours, and then there was another school shooting, and that was somewhere else, and I'm not going to get into it, but there was 2 shootings directly after that national emergency. And so guess what makes the news? These are distraction tactics. It's not. I cannot see it any other way anymore. Every time, okay, look, not to go too far down the rabbit hole. But the United States has had a number of false flags. The Gulf of Tonkin, right? The bombing of, I can't remember the name of the ship, but it was in the Gulf of Tonkin, and a whole bunch of Americans died, and then our government came to the American people and said, hey, man, we got to go fight in Vietnam, man. Those boys just killed a bunch of our boys. We got to go to war. And America was like, oh, okay, all right. False flag. It got us involved in a war. And that's not the only one. That is, by the way, that's not conspiracy theory. It's been proven. And the guy who was like the Secretary of Defense at the time, he came out and admitted, he's like, yeah, we did that. We did that because we needed to get involved in that war. We needed to get the American people on board. I'm horribly misquoting here, but that's the gist of it. Like, this is not outside of the scope of people like John Brennan, and the people in the CIA. Like, this is not outside of the scope of, this is things they've done before, and it's not conspiracy theory. It's on the books. It's been recorded. So it just so happens that we haven't had a mass shooting in a long time. Well, I say a long time, but it just so happens that this happens on the day, right? That black guy goes and kills a bunch of people in Illinois. Just so happens to be within hours of when the president declares a national emergency. You have to look at this, man. Within hours, that happened. And that's something that needs to be looked at.